The vertebral column. Your vertebral column is comprised of 33 individual vertebrae. The column is divided into 5 regions. The first 7 vertebrae are known as the cervical vertebrae. They are named C1 to C7. The next 12 vertebrae are known as the thoracic vertebrae. They are named T1 to T12. The lower 5 vertebrae are known as the lumbar vertebrae, and they are named L1 to L5. The sacrum consists of 5 vertebrae that are fused together, named S1 to S5. The coccyx are also fused as 4 vertebrae, named CO1 to CO4. Here's a trick to help you remember. 7 at breakfast, 12 at lunch, 5 at dinner, 5 hours before bed. C1 is known as the atlas. It sits at the top of the vertebral column and connects it to the skull. It has no vertebral body or spinous process, but instead forms a thin disc with a short anterior arch and a longer posterior arch. It bears the weight of the skull and allows for a wide range of movements. C2 is known as the axis. The axis functions as a pivot and facilitates the rotation of the head from side to side. It is characterized by the dens, which is a tooth-like projection which articulates with C1. This articulation is called the median atlantoaxial joint. The other vertebrae are characterized by an anterior body and a posterior vertebral arch. The posterior vertebral arch includes the pedicle, transverse process, lamina, spinous process, and superior and inferior articular processes. The other cervical vertebrae are identifiable by a small oval-shaped body, a large triangular foramen to accommodate the cervical enlargement of the spinal cord, transverse foramina to give passage to the vertebral artery, vein and sympathetic nerves, a bifid, forked spinous process to allow for enhanced muscle attachment on account of the complex musculature at the head and neck. The thoracic vertebrae have large heart-shaped bodies for moderate weight bearing. The foramen is more circular. The spinal cord is smaller in diameter in this region as compared to the cervical or lumbar regions. The spinous process is long and points inferiorly, allowing for increased protection of the spinal cord as the processes fully overlap. There is an evolution in terms of shape, size and features. T1 is more similar to the cervical vertebrae, whereas T12 is more similar to the lumbar vertebrae. The lumbar vertebrae are the largest of the vertebrae. They are weight-bearing and purposed for strength over flexibility. The body is thick, broad and kidney-shaped. The vertebral foramen is triangular once more. The spinous process is short, broad and horizontal, providing a strong attachment for back muscles. The overall size of the vertebral body increases as you go down the vertebral column, as the bones bear more weight. Think of the cervical vertebrae as functioning so you can move your head. The thoracic as being tied to the ribs, and the lumbar as being large for loading weight. The sacrum is fused into a single bone as an adaptation for strength and more effective weight transfer. It connects the spine and the pelvis, forming the posterior wall of the pelvis. The sacrum also protects the sacral canal, which is a continuation of the spinal cord. The base of the sacrum articulates with L5, and the apex borders the coccyx. The coccyx is thought to be a remnant from an ancestral tail. It is known as the tailbone. There is some variation, as some individuals only have 3 fused coccygeal vertebrae, and others may have 5. It anchors the pelvic floor muscles and assists with weight distribution when sitting. The base articulates with the sacrum. The apex represents the terminus of the vertebral column. The craniovertebral joints connect the cranium and the vertebral column. The atlanto-occipital joints connect C1 to the occipital bone of the cranium. The atlanto-axial joints connect the atlas and the axis. The vertebral bodies from C2 to S1 are connected by intervertebral discs, which are cartilaginous joints. Zygapophyseal joints, also known as facet joints, adjoin the superior and inferior articular processes.